Thabo has blown my mind. Like, yes, I did like him before, but I like him more now. Why? Because of his understanding, his deep understanding of no money deals. Like, I thought I was a genius, right? But when you meet the other genius, you see that, nah, you don't come to anything else. How's it going? And welcome to My Best Property, and I am Taurai Jack, and like it is at My Best Property, we always have a guest. So I'm an up and about, and I am at Thabo's place. So I met up Thabo a while ago, and I said, Thabo, what's your name? He says, Thabo Mtwa. So I was kind of like thinking that there was going to be something else like after Mtwa, and I said, okay, Thabo who? And he said, Mtwa. So I'm like, there he is. This is the guy. Thabo Mtwa, how's it going?
I'm good, on you, Tai?
Awesome.
I'm good.
Right, so we are at one of your places where you have decided that it is your best property. We're going to jump into the property a little bit later and talk about it. But firstly, let's talk about who is Thabo.
Okay. Firstly, thank you for having me on your show. It's a great honor. Always follow you on social media. So thank you for meeting face to face. Finally. Cool. Okay. Back to your question. Okay. Yes, as you did mention, I'm Thabo Mtwa. I'm from the East Rand, from Benoni. I was born in Davidson. I'm from a family of two. I'm actually the eldest. What else? Okay, I'm married now. I've got a family. I stay in Brakpan.
Everything about you is in the East.
Yes, that's true. It's all in the East.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Hence, even when you started the business, we started to. Okay, but later about the business. Not now. Later about the business. Okay, it's about me. All right. I've got a family now. Got married. I've got a son.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. I escaped the red race.
What is that?
The red race.
Yeah.
It's I wouldn't call it a trap. Yeah. But it's sort of like a movement that started back in the 60s when the factories were getting not developed, but when the factories were coming up, and then the Western culture developed this thing called 9 to 5, where for those 8-10 hours they own you.
Sure.
And you get paid per hour.
So it's an exchange. So come to work and we give you some money.
Yeah.
And if you've got a better trade, you start earning a little bit. And all of a sudden, you and I, we've been in the rat race for a while.
Yeah.
I'm out of it. You've been out of it.
I'm out of it, yeah.
But you might still be in it. It's okay. But not everyone should be out of the rat race. For some people, they enjoy working.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
As I used to speak to my ex-colleagues, I used to tell them, because I was working in the aviation industry.
Sure.
I used to tell them that...
So your background is aviation?
Yeah, my background is aviation.
And you've always been in aviation, but how did you start figuring out that, I mean, all of your time, right? Aviation is here in the air most of the time, right?
True.
But you want to do stuff that is hard on the ground.
Sure.
How did you figure that out?
Okay, partly was while growing up, like I said, I was born in Davidson.
Yeah.
There was a period whereby my parents were not doing so well.
Sure.
So during that time, their credit was messed up.
Sure.
So from the year 2000 to 2012, when my father passed on, he died without owning a house.
Yeah.
Solely due because of the past mistakes that they did in terms of their credit, so he couldn't qualify for a house.
Sure.
So that actually triggered something in me that, you know what, I need to go into this real estate thing.
Tabo, you say something important there. You know, this was an awakening moment for you. For many other people, we look at that and like, yeah, my dad didn't give me this, he didn't give me that. So we carry that whole thing of victim. But within the victim part, you actually resonated and like, but how can I see it better? So I think that was a win, you know, back then.
Thank you.
You know, that's a total win. It's just a mind shift that changes.
It is. I totally agree with you.
And for you changing in that space of being at a home, it's unfortunate that he died with no asset, but here you are.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So there is, you're in that space now, and how did you progress going forward now?
And then what happened was, I got into real estate by, I believe in education. Sure. Whether it's self-education or it's education through the tertiary institution. So now, while working at the airline, what I did was, because we used to travel a lot, obviously.
Sure. Yes.
So now, while traveling, while my colleagues were out partying, out sightseeing, all that kind of stuff.
Tell us when you go, because a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
So if you're in aviation, you go to all of these countries.
Yeah.
Then what happens? When you stay there, then what?
Well, it depends which destination you go to. Like, for instance, if we go to the States,
New York.
Yeah, go to New York. I used to go to New York and Washington. So when you go there, you spend 3 days, 2 nights. So now, as soon as, let's say you get off the flight, you go to the hotel. Get to the hotel. When you get to reception or concierge.
3-star, 5-star?
It was 4 and 5 star.
Okay,
yeah,
right.
Yeah, it was 4 and 5 star. So,
and you were calling that the red race?
Look, you know the hardest part was
I'm just saying.
No, the hardest part was now, because I got married in 2013.
Right.
So now, when I have to travel, I have to go to work. It wasn't easy leaving my family behind and all that kind of stuff. So that's what actually triggered. Definitely must be a better way.
It was an awakening moment for me as well. I remember I was flying from Joburg to Accra.
Yeah.
And
beautiful place. Beautiful place.
And I was business class, and something hit me around. I'm always traveling, and the employer is paying for this for me. I enjoy this, but my family doesn't, and I can't afford it, right? And that was one of my. I've got many awakening moments, and that one was one of them. And I was like, how can I achieve it? Right? Because my wife enjoys traveling as well.
Nice.
So I'm like, but how can we do it? And I realized that being an employee cannot allow me that. I'm going to save a lot of money for me to get there. You will get there, you will pay, but it's just going to take a lot of time.
Sure.
And it seems like, we share the same sentiments there.
Yeah, that's true. Because look, your value is determined by the employer.
Right.
So with the business, the income that you want to receive is based on your efforts.
100%.
Yeah, so I get what you're saying.
Awesome stuff. So now you're married, and there you are, you're still traveling and things like that. Whilst you were in New York, in Chicago, then you started what? Reading?
I bought a lot of books. The first book I bought when it comes to real estate is Buying and Investing in Property in South Africa.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the first book I bought. And then I started going to...
And that's a good book, by the way.
It's a very good book, book. And then I went to YouTube. Then I started subscribing to a couple of channels. I went to Facebook. I searched people who are in the real estate industry so I can learn from them.
You were hungry, man.
I was hungry. Yeah, I searched, even found the M5 Property Addicts, those kind of people. So people who
I didn't know what I was doing at that time.
But don't worry, we'll definitely get something from you.
Then I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. So I learned from that. In South African, there's a South African proverb that said, you ask the way from guys who actually have been there before.
Sure.
So I was looking for such things whereby, yes, I was going to make mistakes going into the business, but there's some mistakes I can be able to avoid if I can ask from people, like, for instance, people like you who are already in the industry, who okay, avoid this mistake, do this, do that. So that was my aim, self-education.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
We're being self-educated. We're going to go through into the next segment where we were going to see how Thabo is doing and what is he doing in the real estate. Okay, so Thabo, this is actually one of your places where we ex now.
That's correct.
But you didn't just, this is not your first property. You've been in the game for a while.
Yeah, that's correct.
But you've been doing different strategies.
That's correct.
Okay. And this property as well is a different strategy.
Yes, it is.
Okay, cool. So, but Thabo, this area here, why now going into this strategy here? Because your business strategy is very different from what you're doing here.
Correct.
Right? But maybe let's start off with your business strategy. What do you do in real estate outside this property? Yeah.
Okay. What I do, my company is Pozi Rentals. What we deal with.
What's the name of the company?
Pozi Rentals.
Pozi.
Yeah, Pozi meaning it's a house. For,
Yeah.
it's a lingo. It's a slang. It's So it's multiracial.
Right.
You use it whether you black, you white, you colored.
Pozi is a Pozi.
True. So hence we chose the name Pozi.
Right.
Yeah. So what we do, we deal with rent to buy.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we do is. We source a property or a seller that is obviously selling.
Yeah.
So what we do is we look for not to say a distressed property.
Right.
There are different types of investment strategies.
Right.
There's buy to let. There's buy, renovate, and then sell, or even to keep the property.
Sure.
Ours is we do rent to buy.
So when you're talking about rent to buy, so walk us through nicely. Pozi Rentals is there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the company. That's what your company. That's your company, right?
Correct.
So you go through to a seller. The seller wants to sell, and then what happens? Do they sell to you?
What we do is they go into contract with Pozi Rentals.
Okay.
So what we do is whether the property is vacant or not,
Right.
we are liable for paying the rent.
Ah.
So
okay.
now what we do is with the seller, we go with as long as possible with the agreement. Meaning it's going to be 12 months, 18 months, 24 months.
Okay.
Yeah. And then with the buyer, the person going to put into the house, we go as short as possible.
Right.
Yeah. So now with the buyer, we work with, there's a credit department that does credit repair.
Sure.
So most of the people that we work with is people who not necessarily can't qualify for the house, but because of, for instance, they had a retail account, and the bank nowadays is very strict when it comes to lending. So now what happens is, even if it's a minor thing, let's say maybe you owed $2,000 overdue 2 years back and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So the bank is going to decline you based on that. That was on the areas that's not paid well. So now what you do, if you get an application, somebody wants to do rent to buy, it goes through the credit repair department first.
Right.
They will assess the client to check, to determine the rent to buy period. They say, you know what, this client, he can do a rent to buy period for 6 months or 12 months.
So Thabo, in a natural fact, right, your business, it's not about the person who's selling the house. It's about selling their house, right? So the house is your product. It's part of your product. But now you're selling it on to someone else whose credit record is not 100% at that particular time.
True.
But for you to be able to sell it to them, you need to make sure that their credit report is repayable.
True.
So they must not be blacklisted.
No, we don't do blacklisted or debt review.
So let's say from a credit score, let me see my credit scoring if I remember very well. 300 and going upwards to 600 is kind of like good, and 600 is excellent.
Yeah.
Right? So if someone is roundabout at 250 and because of an Edgar's account, and we all know now Edgar's is gone, but they don't know how to fix this. It's something that can be fixable, but you're saying don't go and pay rent or whatnot. I can source you a house, but you can rent for a little bit, but within that place, you can now own that place. That's your product.
Yes, it's definitely our product. That's what we do.
Okay.
You see, with the credit bureau, by law, they're supposed to have correct information about the consumer.
Right.
So what we do is we scrutinize the information on the credit report.
Right.
That's the basic, that's step one of the credit repair.
Right.
We make sure it's the right name, so right address, they've got the right account balance, they've got the right... So you see, the consumers, they can able to freely do this through the credit bureau, the TransUnion, Experian, XDS, and they can freely do this.
Yeah.
So now, with most of the clients...
But not everyone can do that. No, I mean, let's be realistic. You know, not the whole reason why we have private bankers doesn't mean that we can't bank on our own.
True.
But sometimes you might not know what to do. Or how to do it.
True.
And, you know, if you look into our market, how many people are qualified or just are able to go online and do that?
True.
Right?
True,
so for some people, it's a real disability, you know.
Yeah, true.
It hinders them to get their house, but you are providing that service now.
Yes.
Right? And do people pay?
Yes.
On your service?
Yes. So what we do is the first thing that we need a credit report.
Right.
So I always advise our clients, there's two ways. Number one, you can provide the credit report from the three major credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, XDS.
Sure.
So that's going to be on your own cost.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, we can do it for you.
Right.
Which is going to be 450 for the all combined reports.
Okay.
Then that's when you get sent to the credit repair team, who will assess your credit and then assess also your income and verify employment details and all that kind of stuff. So that's the first step of rent to buy.
Okay.
Yeah. And then from there, then you move to the property itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
At that time, do you have a property in mind or you don't have a property in mind for that client?
You see, sourcing property was an issue for us.
Sure.
Yeah, it was a hurdle for us because of people are not used to this strategy.
Yes.
So we decided to focus on the education part, where we educate people first, and then that's how we marketed ourselves.
Yeah.
So now it's only now that we've partnered up with a couple of agents.
Right.
That's already they're doing rentals, and they've got clients that say, "What? Here's my house, rent it out, but I'm thinking of selling it in future and all that kind of stuff." So that's a rent to buy deal. So now most of the people, they know about rent to buy, but they don't know in terms of legalities what to do. Sure. So that's where you come in, saying what with rent to buy. Basically, there's 3 agreements in place. Number one is going to be a lease agreement. Then it's going to be an option to purchase agreement. Right. The option to purchase, it binds the seller and the buyer. So that the seller is taking the property off the market for the buyer. Awesome. So there's a fee that is payable there.
Yeah.
The option to buy, purchase. Then towards the end is going to be the sale agreement.
Awesome stuff. Your business is about helping people.
That's correct.
That's what it is.
That's correct.
Right. And it's a passion business, and you can, I think it's one of those painful businesses where when you see maybe someone else who's really, really gone down on a zero where you can't help them. It's a painful position to tell them that you can't help them.
Yeah, it is.
Have you had circumstances like those?
Yeah, as I did mention, we don't deal with people who are in debt review.
Sure.
But however, we do get stories. People tell us how badly or let's say mostly it's our clients. It's the males.
Sure.
Then the males is the head of the house. He's looking for a property for his family. Sure. You know, just to cover their heads and all that kind of stuff.
And for you as a man, you can relate to what.
Yes, I can. As a father, I definitely can. So now what they do is they tell us the whole story. So I always try, even if Pozi renters can assist, but I always try to direct them somewhere else.
Sure.
So okay, this maybe we try this, try here, try. I always give them option. You know, at the end of the day, as long as you've got hope, you know, hope goes a long way.
100%.
Yeah.
Tabo, with that in mind, so your business runs, but this property here now, you actually bought it from the proceeds of that business.
Yeah.
So this house, what is it? I mean, we are standing in the courtyard. Yeah. Back in the days, they'll call this the courtyard. Because on our far right hand side, there's a young swimming pool. Behind us is a big house. 3-bed, right?
Yeah, it's a 3-bedroom house. Bathroom, lounge, dining room, kitchen,
Awesome.
And then that's the garage. And then this is the laundry, where they do the laundry.
Laundry, a separate room for laundry.
Yeah.
You're in the suburbs, bro. So what is this now?
So this is one of the cottages. There's 2 cottages in the property.
Yeah.
So this is the cottage. It's got a bedroom, a shower, and a kitchen. And then the other one has got a lounge as well. So this is the smallest. That's correct. Yeah, this is one of the cottages.
And the door here, nice little door. And let's jump in. Woo!
Yeah.
There's a bit of a smell in here, brother.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to be done here. So this is one of the room where we're busy with the renovations, as you can see.
Okay.
Yeah, so
you had a carpet in here.
That's correct.
I don't know whether the carpet is, whether it's the one that's smelly or...
Yeah, that's the smell. That's the smell from the carpet, yeah. That's the
So
smell
there
from
was
the
water
carpet.
probably coming in here.
Yes, because of we didn't have the...
We didn't have the shed for the door.
Yeah, that
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yeah,
So-
that's one. So the water was coming in.
Right,
So,
right. So what are you going to do now? Because this, you're not going to get a tenant in here like this.
No, not in this state.
Right.
So now what you're going to do, the whole property, including the main house and the other cottages, we're just going through some renovations. Now with this one specifically, obviously going to do the painting,
Right.
and then we're going to put in the tiles here.
New tiles?
Yeah, going to put in new tiles, new taps, and then we're going to change the tiles.
So your ceiling is coming down as well, yeah?
Yes, the ceiling as well. We're definitely going to change the ceiling as well. And
Did you see did you see the ceiling is falling?
yeah.
So that ceiling is falling down there.
Yeah, it is. So we're definitely going to change the ceiling as well. And the previous tenant even left the shower in this state. So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done here. There's a lot of work to be done here.
Right. So for people that don't know how tenants treat properties, this is the true evidence of it.
Yeah. Now, based on our strategy, we do rent to buy and then we are out. Now, mainly the tenant buyer, they're the one who does the management, all that kind of stuff. Now, this property, it was the first time we have to deal with tenants and the issues and all that kind of stuff. Now, I've been hearing about tenants' issues and all that kind of stuff. So it was my first experience with tenants.
This is your first experience to see this mess.
Yeah.
I've got 200 tenants.
Oh yeah, I've seen your videos.
This is normal.
Oh, I've seen your videos.
So a piece of advice from Uncle TJ.
Okay.
Right. On here, this is normal. But on a serious note, though, white is not a good color. But if you choose to have white, that's great too. Whenever you got a tenant in and out, industrial clean. So we have a team of people that actually come in to clean when someone is going out.
Okay.
So that when you're coming in, when you see it clean, we can hold on to your deposit. For when you're going out, you should also leave it clean. Right? I mean, it's just general distance.
I get you.
If you don't, we will take that amount from your deposit and then contract someone to clean it. And cleaning would then be either be it industrial like this.
Yeah.
There is no way you can get anyone to clean it.
To clean, true. Yeah,
I mean, you get someone to clean, yes, but not to get it to a clean position.
True, I get
It has to be industrial. You know what I mean? Like heavy machine with proper stuff. But again, that's now a big expense.
Speaking of deposit, since you mentioned a deposit, we had an issue with the main tenant at the main house.
Yeah.
What happened was, as the lease agreement states that they're supposed to take care of the garden, of the pool, because the main house is in charge of the pool.
Sure.
So now what happened was they were not doing that. So now we gave them 30 days notice, saying what, guys, because of you not honoring the contract, you guys have to move out.
Yeah.
So now, on the day that's supposed to move out, the tenant says they want to stay another month, but we can use the deposit. No, the deposit is not used for that.
That doesn't work like that.
The deposit is not used for that. It's used for when you move out.
But I think that's where the power of your contracts comes into play.
True.
Because,
that's what I've learned as well.
Because if it's not on the contract, then it's a negotiating kind of like thing.
True.
And sometimes if you're closer to the tenant, and that's why I don't like being close to tenants. You start feeling like you have to help and things like that. And for me, there's no emotions. It's business.
It's business is business.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
But whilst we're in this unit, this is a very weird unit.
It is.
So this kitchen here, like the cupboard is taking up the entire place.
Yeah, it is.
And then in the middle of the room, you've got the toilet.
Yeah. It's a weird configuration. We bought it like this, so we thought let's keep it like this for a while, for 5 years or so, and then we'll be able to check the configuration of this cottage. But in the meantime, let's just renovate what we can, keep the costs low, and then
If I were you, I would move this cupboard away, put it on top. I think I'd actually move many of the cupboards to be on the top.
At the top.
That way it creates space.
I get you. I get what you're saying.
And then just leave, I would only leave this, the sink. Actually make it smaller if I can, and put in my stove on there. Take these ones on the top there, and bring in a step ladder for your tenant. That way you've got all the space
to work with. That actually makes sense.
Now you can have your fridge on that corner there.
That actually makes sense.
You're just creating a little bit of ambience. You're working with what you've got.
True.
To create a bigger space. Yeah. Cool.
That's a good suggestion.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Right. Next site. Thabo, we are at the back of your property now.
Good.
And I'm always fascinated to hear about, like properties like these ones, they're not easy to find.
True.
Right? You said it earlier on that sourcing properties is difficult, but now you've got a property that you have now actually bought. So this property doesn't belong to your business, it belongs to you, your missus, and your kids. And how did you find this?
I've actually found this property during the level 5 lockdown.
How do you find properties lockdown? You're supposed to be locked down.
No, I think you know the quote. Warren Buffett says, be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are faithful. So it was during that time people were faithful. I'm thinking, let me look for opportunities. It's a good time to look for opportunities.
When there's blood on the floor, bye.
Yeah, exactly. So I was there every day. I was there. My wife will actually attest to that. I was always on the phone, always checking for deals. And then I found this property. The property I found it on Facebook.
You found this property on Facebook?
Yeah. On Marketplace. So the lady was...
I didn't know there's people that sell properties on Facebook.
Yeah. Marketplace is actually big.
Really?
Marketplace is big, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the property was vacant for more than 4 months.
Right.
So I thought this is a good strategy for rent to buy.
Yes.
So I contacted...
Which is what you do in your business.
Yeah, that's what I do in the business.
Right.
So I contacted the lady, and then I informed her of my business strategy, how we work, how we assist consumers and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So she was interested.
Okay.
So when the lockdown levels were actually elevated, I came and I viewed the property.
Right.
I love the property.
Did you put in an offer before, or you didn't?
No, I didn't put in an offer.
So you just said, I'm interested, I'll come through and see.
I'll come in, yeah. So I came in view, and like I said, our strategy is to do rent to buy.
Right.
But after viewing this property, when I got home, I started doing the numbers.
Right.
This property would actually suit us best if we keep it for rental.
Okay.
Because now, when I did my calculations, it gave us double digits yield, which is return on investment. So it was a no-brainer for us to keep the property.
Double digits, by the way, is any number after 10.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I sent through a proposal. I said to the lady, we did a rent to buy period for 6 months.
Okay.
And then what happened was the lady was getting rental from the 2 cottages, and then we were in charge of the main house.
Right.
Yeah, so what we did was we subletted to a tenant. So we got a tenant. The tenant was paying.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So there's the lady who's selling. Okay. And you came in with your proposal to rent from her. but with a long-term view of buying it.
Of buying it, yeah.
So that was step number one. So your proposal got accepted.
Yeah.
And then you took possession of the main house.
The main house, that's correct.
And you put in a tenant.
Yeah.
So now it's a rent-to-rent now.
Yeah, it was a rent-to-rent.
Okay. But now you've got 2 other cottages that were still open.
No, they were tenanted.
They were tenanted.
Was still, yeah.
Right. But they were not your tenants.
No, they're not my tenants.
They're still the landlord's
The
tenants.
landlords, that's correct.
So she continued there.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. But you said now you don't want to do a rent-to-rent. You want to buy it.
Yeah. The reason why we did that was we wanted to secure funding or finance.
Right.
So now we asked for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So hence we did the rent to buy for 6 months. So now before even doing the rent to buy, we agreed on the price first. That's the major thing. You need to agree on the price first.
Of the entire property.
Of the entire property.
Okay, good.
So the price for the property was 1.2 million.
Okay.
Yeah. So
was that before or after you negotiated?
It was after negotiated. Okay. I got it for 1.5. I mean 1.2. Sorry.
1.2.
Yeah,
Right.
1.2.
Okay.
So the rental on the main house is 8.5.
8.5. Yeah.
The rental on this one is 4,000.
Okay. 12,000.
Yeah. On the rental on that one is 3,000. Sorry.
Okay. So you're on
Yeah.
15K.
Yes.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, I really like your strategy, by the way.
Thank you.
So-
Thank you.
Let's assume you were not working.
Yeah.
Let's assume, right? It's
Yeah.
an assumption. And you jumping into this contract where you do a rent-to-rent. We said 10,000, right? 8,000.
8.5.
8.5. This 8.5 now starts coming into your bank account for 6 months. When you now go to a bank, the bank's going to start looking at you very different because you've got an income now. So you can afford the property. Well, you might not afford 1.2, but they might give you maybe 700, 600, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Okay? But here's the kicker. If you got 4 or 5 of these properties that you're doing the same strategy and you are not employed, right? Again, the bank sees you in a different light.
Because you're getting income.
Because you got an income. The bank just wants to see an income.
True. That's true. That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And now, out of that, whether you're self-employed or whatever the case is, the point is that in your bank account, there is an inconsistent income that's coming in.
True.
Right?
True.
And you've got contracts as well that you've got to back up to say, this is what I'm doing. There are so many banks out there, other than the big 4, that will entertain you. Well, ABSA, Standard Bank, they even have products where they'll say, yes, we will look at the future rental income over and above what you're getting now, and we'll give you a loan.
A loan based on that.
So you are future-proofing yourself to make sure that you get the bond.
Yeah.
I like that. It's a very good strategy.
Thank you,
Right.
Taurai.
So with this property now, right, there's lots of things happening.
Yes.
The garden you haven't even touched. That unit where we were,
Yeah.
you've just barely started.
Yeah.
The main house, did you do any work in it?
The main house, when you bought in, the lady just, the seller, or the previous owner, they just painted it. So it was newly painted. She put in a new carpet and all that kind of stuff.
In short, you're saying no.
Yeah, we haven't done anything as yet. But...
So here's my point, right? So you have no idea how this gets me excited.
I can see each...
So you get into a property, right? You start getting rent. You don't do it. You don't spend nothing in it. But you start getting an income.
Yeah, the idea was to use other people's money.
That's why I'm excited.
Yeah.
So now you've got a tenant in there. You haven't done any work. But you can now actually take the rental income that's coming from there and to start doing your reno there. Because you're not pressed. Right? And then you get a good tenant in there with a nice a nicely renovated unit. Well, it might take you maybe 2 to 3 months to get to your entire reno. But the point is that you've got no money coming out of your damn pocket.
No, that's true. That is so true. Like I said, that was the point.
I like that.
Yeah. Thank you.
But Thabo, so I'm gonna ask the question again. I know I asked you in the beginning, like, how did you get it? How did you get to know all of this? How did you figure this out? When you came to this property, did you already think that this is what I'm going to do, or it's playing out as you're going along? Because to me, this is genius. This is the holy grail of real estate investing.
True. That's true.
You're getting an income with no money, right? If people have ever had no money deals, this is it.
This is no money. That's true. That's what we're focusing on. No, that's true.
We think that is being done in other countries, but there's a bald guy, bearded guy who's doing it.
That's true.
In our own
who looks foreign. Yeah, true. Yeah, that's true.
Respect.
Thank you.
So, but tell us, is there a school? Is there, like, how did you figure this thing out?
As I previously mentioned, I did self-education.
Sure.
It was years of research. Years of research. And then what happened was, while I was working in the aviation industry, I started telling my colleagues, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm thinking of doing. And then they started coming to me one by one, saying, look, I've got a unit in Johannesburg. That was my first property in Belleville. They're sitting vacant for 5 months.
Yeah.
Can you do something about it?
That's my backyard, Belleville.
Beautiful rentals, beautiful yields. So that's my first property. That's where I learned a couple of things there.
Sure.
So from there, I did a property in Brakpan, property in Benoni, Crystal Park, all coming from colleagues. Colleagues who I was just spreading the word, even on Facebook.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth. Basically, even my friends, on my network from social media, they were actually giving me their property. So I've got this problem, I've got this issue. So I was starting to solve their issues. So that's why I started learning other things that I didn't learn on YouTube and all that kind of stuff.
On one of my videos on YouTube, I labeled this video to say, if you solve problems, you'll make money.
True.
And I did that video long before I was here. And that's what it's all about.
True, it's all about solving problems.
You have now created a business, Pozi Rentals, on the basis of solving other people's problems.
True.
On here, the property where we are at, this lady couldn't get a tenant. But you solved it.
I did.
But you're making some money out of it as well.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you. Look, going back to you did ask me previously that why did I change my strategy on this property?
Yeah.
One of the guys that I follow is Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
He always speaks on
Uncle G.
Uncle G. He always speaks about investing in multiple doors.
Right.
Whereby if a tenants move out, you're not that much affected.
Sure.
So even your strategy whereby you as into student apartments or all that kind of stuff is the same strategy whereby if one or two tenants move out, you're not that much affected. Unlike investing in a house.
Zero.
Yeah, unless investing in a house, you got one tenant.
Sure.
So if they move out, you messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is great advice. Ladies and gentlemen, we was out and about. By the way, we didn't tell people where this area is.
Oh, yes.
What's the name of this area again?
This is Witchwood in Germiston.
Witchwood.
Yeah.
It is in the east, where he is based, obviously. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Thabo Mtwa, and I've been hanging out with him this afternoon. And in this place, Thabo has blown my mind. Like, yes, I did like him before, but I like him more now. Why? Because of his understanding, his deep understanding of no money deals. Like, I thought I was a genius, right? But when you meet the other genius, you see that, you don't come to anything else. It's been great hanging out with you. And if this has been exciting to you, and if you have learned anything from it at all, now's the time to hit that subscription button, hit the subscribe button. We'll check you out in the next videos.